You think you're finished? Let me tell you something. You are not done. I don't care if you fail. I don't care if you've been through hell. I don't care if they laughed at you, if they left you, if they say you're done. You are not done. You're breathing. That means you got purpose. That means there's still work to do. That means you got something the world hasn't seen yet. But you out here moving like it's over. You out here acting like life already wrote the last chapter. Nah, this ain't the ending. This is the beginning of your comeback. I need you to understand something. Champions don't stop when it's hard. They stop when it's done. And guess what? You ain't done yet. You got a dream? Then protect it. Fight for it, crawl for it, bleed for it. Because when you were born, God didn't say, here's someone average. He said, here's someone with power, with purpose, with potential. But now you're walking around like your tank is empty. Let me tell you something. Your tank is not empty. Your mind is lying to you. Pain, pressure, problems, they're all just proof you're still in the fight. And if you're still in the fight, you still got a shot at victory. Get up, wipe your face, straighten your back, clench your fist. Tell yourself, I am not done. Because the version of you that's coming, that version is unbreakable. That version walks through storm. That version wakes up before the alarm, grinds when nobody's watching, and doesn't need applause to keep pushing. You ain't waiting on a sign. You are the sign. So don't stop now, don't fold now, don't you dare quit now, because you are not done. You woke up this morning. That means you got another shot, another chance, another 24 to make something happen, another 24 to rise above what tried to bury you. You might not see it right now. You might feel broken, tired, discouraged. But let me make one thing absolutely clear. You are not done. You think just because it got hard that it's over? You think just because they walked out on you, the dream died with them? You think because you failed one time or two times or 100 times that your story is finished? Nah, that's not how this works. The only time the story ends is when you quit writing it. And as long as you got breath in your lungs, as long as our heart is beating, you still got a pen in you, still in control. You still in the fight. So what are you going to do with it? There are people who gave up too soon. People who stopped running one step before the finish line. People who stopped climbing one rock before the peak. They let the pain rewrite their ending. They let the pressure close the book. But you still got pages left. You still got moves to make. You still got a chapter coming that's gonna blow everything before it out the water. But you gotta believe it. You gotta believe that where you are now is not the final version of you. This ain't the highlight reel. This ain't the highlight reel. This is the grind before the glory. See, too many people let their past define them. They let the mistakes, the regret, the losses sit in the driver's seat. But that's not who you are. That's just part of the journey. That's just a chapter, a setup, a storm before the sun comes up. And I know it gets dark. I know it feels lonely. I know sometimes you're walking through it and asking, why me? But I need you to flip that. I need you to look at your pain and say, try me. You're still here for a reason. If you weren't supposed to keep going, you wouldn't be alive. Understand that. You think it's coincidence you made it through everything that tried to destroy you. The depression didn't take you out. The failure didn't stop you. The heartbreak didn't crush you. That means there's something inside of you that's stronger than all of it. That means you got purpose. You got value. You got something this world still needs to see. But you got to get out of your own way. Stop acting like you're finished. You're not finished. You're in the middle. And the middle is messy. The middle is where the pressure builds, where the weight feels the heaviest. But that's also where champions are made. That's where faith is tested. That's where your character is forged. Anybody can show up when it's easy. But what about when it hurts? What about when nobody claps? What about when you're putting in the work and it seems like nothing is changing? Let me tell you something. Grind anyway, push anyway, show up anyway, show up anyway. Because all it takes is one moment to shift everything. One idea, one breakthrough, one opportunity. But you gotta be in the game to catch it. You can't score from the sidelines. You can't win if you already walked off the field. So get back in the ring. Get back in the lab. Get back in the grind. It's not over till you say it is. And you don't get to say that unless you gave every single ounce of yourself to the mission. Some of y'all are sitting around waiting for the world to give you permission, waiting for the situation to change before you move. waiting for someone to notice you, validate you, choose you. But listen to me. You don't need validation to go after what's already yours. You don't need a round of applause to know your worth. Your value doesn't decrease because of someone else's opinion. You got bread. That's your permission slip. That's all the confirmation you need. Now act like it. There's a version of you that's disciplined, that's relentless. That wakes up early, stays late, and doesn't stop when it's tired. That version is already inside you, but it's waiting on the real you to show up. And that version knows that the breath in your lungs means one thing and one thing only. You still got time, so don't waste it. Don't sleep on it. Don't throw it away crying over something that didn't break you. You made it this far. That means you can go further. Don't you dare quit now. Don't you dare let fear or doubt or pain tell you this is the end. Because as long as your breathing is not, it's still your season. It's still your time. You're still alive. You're still here. So act like it, grind like it, believe like it, live like it. You are not done. You feel that pain? Good. That means you're alive. That means you're in the game. That means the process is working, because pain is not there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. It's not punishment, it's preparation. But see, too many of you out here running from it. You're trying to hide from the very thing that's gonna take you to your next level. You're crying over the thing that was meant to crown you. You're trying to escape the very fire that was designed to forge the strongest version of you. You ever seen gold being purified? It don't happen in the cold. It don't happen in a safe, clean room. It happens in the fire. That fire burns off the impurities. It melts the weakness. It reveals the value that's always been there. And that's you right now. You're in the heat, you're under pressure, and it hurts. But that's because life is pulling the greatness out of you. That's because you're being prepared for something bigger than what you're in right now. And the problem is, you've been taught to avoid pain like it's the enemy, like it's something bad. But let me tell you, pain is the teacher that shows up when comfort won't. Pain shows up and says, let's grow, let's stretch, let's break through this level. But instead of listening, most people run. Most people back down. Most people say, oh, why me? I need you to change that to try me. Because if it's showing up in your life, that means you've got the strength to survive it and the potential to be strengthened by it. You don't grow when everything's going right. You grow when things go wrong and you keep showing up anyway. You grow when it's hard and lonely and uncertain, but you still push. You still get up. You still believe in yourself when nobody else does. That's when the transformation happens. Not on the sunny days, but in the storm. Not when you're celebrated, but when you're overlooked and you grind anyway. You think the struggle is a sign you're off track. Nah, it's confirmation you're on the path to something real. If it wasn't worth it, it'd be hard. If it wasn't valuable, it wouldn't cost you so much. That pain you're feeling, it's the price of progress. That pressure, that's the signal that you're stepping into territory that most people avoid. You ain't most people. You didn't come this far to fold. You didn't come this far to retreat. You came to rise. You came to conquer. You came to grow. You've been asking for elevation, for purpose, for greatness. But you didn't expect it to come wrapped in pain. You didn't expect the package to come labeled with loss or heartbreak or rejection. But that's how the game works. Before you level up, life tests if you're really ready. Before you get what you prayed for, life checks if you can handle the weight of it. In a test, it comes dressed as pain. You look at people winning and think, oh man, they must have it easy. What you don't see is the nights they cry and still push, the sacrifices they made, the seasons they suffered in silence. You want the reward without the resistance. But listen to me, pain is part of the plan. You don't become a diamond without pressure. You don't become strong without resistance. You don't become unshakable without first being shaken. The difference between those who make it and those who don't is simple. The ones who make it didn't give up when it hurt. They understood that pain was shaping them. They trusted the process even when they didn't understand it. That's what I need from you. I need you to stop complaining about the pain and start learning from it. Stop trying to numb it and start using it. Let it fuel you. Let it teach you. Let it elevate you. Because one day you're going to look back and realize that everything you went through was setting you up for the very thing you asked for. That pain you hated, it built the strength you needed. That season you wanted to escape, it built the patience and discipline that's carrying you now. You'll realize it wasn't happening to you. It was happening for you. So stop asking for easy and stop wishing it would get lighter. You get stronger. You show life that you can take the hit and keep swinging. You show life that no matter how hard it gets, you won't fold. You won't quit. Because pain ain't punishment. It's preparation. And when you embrace that, when you welcome that pressure, instead of running from it, you'll find out who you really are. You'll find out that all the strength, all the grit, all the fire you ever needed, it's already inside of you. The pain just brings it to the surface. You're being prepared for something greater. So don't curse the pain. Thank it, use it, grow from it. Because it's not breaking you, it's building you. And when this season's over, you won't be the same. You'll be stronger, wiser, tougher, and more dangerous than you've ever been. You just gotta endure. Because pain is not punishment, it's the process that prepares champions. Where you are right now is not where you have to stay. I don't care if you're broke, I don't care if you're stuck, I don't care if you've been counted out, overlooked, disrespected, or told you'll never make it. Your current situation is not your final destination. You are not a product of your circumstance. You are a product of your mindset, your grind, your will to keep moving even when life says sit down. Too many of y'all are treating your now like it's forever. You're looking around at the pain, at the lack, at the struggle, and you're saying, this is it. This is who I am. This is all I'll ever be. But let me remind you, where you are today is just a chapter. It's not the whole book. It's not the title. It's not the ending. It's just a paragraph. It's just a page. And if you don't like the page you're on, pick up the pen and write a new one. See, people around you might try to define you by your situation. They see you driving that beat up car. They see you grinding 2 jobs, living check to check, and they think that's all you are. But they don't see what's inside you. They don't see the sleepless nights, the vision, the work ethic, the fire. They don't know what you're building. They don't understand that this struggle is just the soil that greatness grows in. You've got to stop accepting your temporary as permanent. You might be in the valley now, but that's not where you're staying. You might be behind now, but that's not where you'll finish. What you're in right now is a process. It's the weight room before the championship. It's the wilderness before the promised land. It's not a curse, it's the climb. And nobody gets to the top without a climb. Nobody gets to the palace without going through the pit. Look, I know what it feels like to be stuck. I know what it's like to look at your life and wonder, is this it? Is this all there is? But that's when you got to get real with yourself. That's when you dig deep and say, no, this ain't it. This ain't where it ends. I'm not settling here. I'm not dying here. I've got more in me. There's more for me. You got to believe that even when everything around you says quit. Because change doesn't start when the situation gets better. It starts when your mindset gets stronger. Your reality shifts the moment you decide, not staying here. I'm not gonna let this environment, this job, this setback define who I am. You shift your focus from what's wrong to what's next. From what you've lost to what you still have left. From what happened to what you're about to make happen. Don't let your surroundings shape your identity. You might be living in a storm, but that doesn't mean you are the storm. You might be in a dark place, but you can still be the light. You might not have the resources yet, but you've got the resourcefulness. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't need a big break. You need a breakthrough. And breakthroughs don't come by waiting. They come by working, by refusing to let where you are become who you are. Where every great story has a chapter where the hero almost gave up. Where it looked like they weren't going to make it. Where the odds were stacked and nobody believed in them, not even themselves. But what makes them great is that they kept going anyway. They didn't let the current moment cancel the future miracle. They didn't let the situation shut down the vision. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep moving, even if you're moving slow. Even if you're crawling. All you can do is breathe and believe. You do that. Because forward is forward. What you're walking through right now is shaping you. It's building something in you that ease never could. You're learning grit. You're learning patience. You're learning to believe without evidence, to move without applause, to grind without guarantees. And that skill set, that mindset, that's going to be the very thing that carries you when the opportunity finally shows up. So when life throws dirt on you, use it. When people count you out, thank them. They just gave you fuel. When you feel like it's too late, remind yourself it's not over. This is not the end. It's the middle. It's the messy part before the miracle. And if you keep walking, if you keep showing up, if you keep believing in the face of doubt, one day you're going to look back on this season and realize it was the most important one of all, because it taught you something success never could, that your power doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the fire inside. It comes from the refusal to give up, from the decision to rise when it would have been easier to stay down, from the relentless belief that where you are now is not where you'll stay. This ain't your final destination, not by a long shot. You're just getting started. So you hit a wall. You stumble. You fell flat on your face. Maybe you lost a job. The relationship ended. The deal fell through. The dream slipped right out of your hand. And now you're sitting there thinking it's over. You're looking at your failure like it's a tombstone. Well, let me tell you something right now. It ain't over. It's never over. That setback, that wasn't your ending. It was your setup. See, the problem is too many people treat a loss like a life sentence, like they're supposed to carry that L around forever. But real winners, understand that a setback is just part of the story. It's not the whole thing. It's the part that makes the comeback mean something. It's the plot twist that makes the victory taste bitter. You don't get to glory without going through some grief. You don't get the crown without crawling through some chaos. Everybody loves the highlight reel. Everybody claps when you win. But no one sees the nights you cried. No one sees the moments you wanted to quit. When you doubted everything, when you felt like nothing would ever change. And that's the exact moment most people stop. They tap out. They accept defeat like it's final. But if you've got breath in your lungs and a dream in your chest, you're not done. You've got another round in you. You've got another fight. You don't get to be great without setbacks. Go read any success story, any legend, any icon, any trailblazer. They all got knocked down. They all lost something. They all failed. But what separated them from the rest wasn't talent, wasn't luck, wasn't money. It was grit. It was fire. It was the decision to rise up when the world told them to stay down. They turned their pain into power. They turned the setback into a slingshot. Think about it. Sometimes the fall is the very thing that launches you higher. Sometimes the delay is divine. You think you're being rejected, but you're really being redirected. That opportunity you lost, that job that didn't work out, that door that closed, it wasn't the end. It was protection. It was preparation. It was life moving you into position. But you were so busy crying over the closed door that you didn't notice the gate to greatness had swung wide open. You want the dream, but you don't want the difficulty. You want the reward, but not the resistance. Let me break it to you. Every comeback story starts with chaos, with failure, with heartbreak, with people saying it's over for them. And that's when you smile. That's when you grind. That's when you look in the mirror and say, watch me. Because the most dangerous person in the world is the one who got knocked down and still back up with more fire than ever before. You see, when you face a setback, you get two choices. You can fold or you can fight. You can sit there and cry about what went wrong, or you can use it. You can turn it into fuel. Use the pain to push harder. Use the frustration to focus sharper. Use the loss to learn fast. That's how champions are made. They don't avoid setbacks. They embrace them. They use them as a springboard. And here's the thing. When you come back from something, when you rise from the ashes, you don't just get your strength back, you multiply it. You come back with wisdom. You come back with scars that turned into armor. You come back with the mindset that I've been through worse and I'm still standing. That's power. That's unshakable. That's dangerous. Don't you dare let a moment of failure define your life. Don't you let a chapter of struggle close the whole book. You got too much purpose in you. You've come too far to stay down now. That setback is the prelude to the comeback. And I promise you, if you refuse to quit, if you keep grinding through the pain, if you keep showing up even when it hurts, you're going to look back on this season and say that was the turning point. That was when everything changed. So what if they calendar you out? So what if they say you're done? You ain't done until you decide you're done. And right now, this moment is your chance to make that decision, to flip the script, to rise up and fight back. Because life didn't bury you. It planted you. And it's time to grow. It's time to rise. It's time to take that setback and turn it into the greatest comeback your life has ever seen. You've got more in you, more power, more potential, more resilience. And every time you get knocked down and get back up, You're proving to the world, and more importantly, to yourself, that nothing can stop you. This setback isn't the end. It's the start of your comeback story. And when you come back, louder, stronger, and more focused than ever before, let them see what a real champion looks like. Every single time life came at you hard, every single time it knocked you down, every time you felt like you weren't gonna make it, you might it. You might have crawled, you might have bled, you might have cried until your body ran out of tears. But you're still here, you're still standing. You didn't just go through hell, you walked out of it. And don't you ever forget that. You survived every storm, every heartbreak, every betrayal, every sleepless night, every voice in your head that told you to give up. You survived it. You didn't think you would, you thought it was the end. You thought there was no way out. But guess what? You're still breathing. That means it wasn't your ending, it was your training. It wasn't your breaking point, it was your building point. See, too many people forget what they've already overcome. They look at today's challenges and act like they don't have a track record of surviving chaos. But let me remind you, you've been through things that would have crushed other people. You've had days where you didn't know how you were gonna eat, how you were gonna pay that bill, how you were gonna stop the pain. You've had people walk out on you, stab you in the back, lie to your face. Still, you didn't fold. Life hit you with its best shot, and you refused to stay down. That pain tried to bury you, but you became a seed. That darkness tried to drown you, but you became the storm. That failure tried to define you, but you rewrote the narrative. And now here you are, scarred but not broken, wounded but still walking, tired but still chasing the dream. You have a survival instinct in you that most people don't even tap into. That's why you're different. That's why you're dangerous. Because every time life tries to break you, you come back harder. Every time it's said, you're done, you say, I've got more. Every time you hit rock bottom, you build a foundation on it. You've proven over and over again that no matter what comes your way, you rise. And I know sometimes you forget how far you've come because you're so focused on how far you still have to go. But I need you to pause and reflect. Go back. Look at that version of you 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Look at the one who was lost, scared, unsure, broken. Now look at you now. You're still here. Stronger, smarter, wiser. You've been through things people couldn't even imagine, and you didn't let it stop you. That's why you can't quit now. That's why you can't back down. Because if you made it through that, you can make it through this. If you climbed out of that pit, you can climb this mountain. If you survived yesterday's pain, then today's pressure is just a warm-up. You built up a toughness, a resilience, a heart that refuses to be crushed. You are proof that pain doesn't have the last word, perseverance does. Let me be real. Life doesn't get easier. It gets heavier, but you get stronger. You become more focused. You learn how to walk through fire without flinching. You learn how to turn rejection into redirection. You learn that just because you're hurting doesn't mean you're helpless. You learn that scars aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of survival. And you are a survivor. You're not just someone who made it through. You're someone who turned pain into power. So when the next storm hits, and it will, I want you to look it dead in the eye and say, I've been here before. I've bled before. I've struggled before, and I made it. Don't let the weight of the moment convince you to forget your strength. Don't let the pressure of today erase the proof of yesterday. You've got a track record of resilience, and that's not by accident. That's not luck. That's you. That's the fighter in you. Every time you wanted to give up, you won. Every time you cried and still showed up, you won. Every time you felt lost but took one more step, you won. You are not a victim of your past. You are a victor rising from it. You don't need everything to go right to move forward. You just need the mindset that says, no matter what, I won't stop. And don't let anybody take that away from you. Don't let anybody make you feel weak because you struggle. Because struggle doesn't mean failure. Struggle means you're in the fight. Struggle means you're building something. Struggle means you're growing, and nobody becomes great without it. You can't have resilience without resistance. You can't develop muscle without lifting weight. In life has been your weight room. And look at you now, you're lifting things that used to crush you. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. That's the kind of testimony that inspires the next person who's on the verge of giving up. So when you're tired, when you're doubting, when you feel like it's too much, Just remember, you've already made it through worse. You survive 100% of your worst days. That's not just a reminder. That's your weapon. You don't even realize it, but you're right there. You're closer than you think. You're not 5 years away. You're not miles away. You're inches away, moments away. One decision, one phone call, one connection, one more rep, one more no that finally turns into a yes. You've been grinding, you've been sowing seeds, and now the harvest is near. But most people quit right before it shows up. You've been carrying the weight. You've been in the dark. You've been walking through the fire, thinking it's never going to end. But what you don't see, what I opted is that breakthrough right on the edge of the horizon. You've already done the hard part. You already made it through the worst part. You already suffered. You already sacrificed. But the enemy wants you to quit because the enemy knows you're close. That's how it works. The pressure intensifies right before the promise shows up. That's when the tests get harder. The silence gets louder. The doubt gets stronger. That's when you feel like everything you've done was for nothing. But listen to me. Every single step brought you closer. Every single sleepless night, every setback, every sacrifice, all of it, it added up. It compounded. You don't see the full picture yet, but momentum is building. The process is working. But if you quit now, you'll never know how close you really were. Success is always silent in the beginning. It doesn't knock on the door loud. It creeps up slowly, one small win at a time. But people don't recognize it because it doesn't always feel like progress. That's why you gotta have vision. That's why you gotta keep walking, even when you can't see the finish line. Because sometimes the finish line is right around the next corner and you don't even know it. You might be thinking, I've been pushing and nothing's happening. No, you don't see what's happening. You don't see the doors opening. You don't see the doors opening in the background. You don't see the people watching you, getting ready to support you. You don't see the connections lining up. But just because it hasn't manifested yet, doesn't mean it isn't coming. A seed doesn't sprout the second you plant. You water it and you wait. And sometimes you wait longer than expected. But the roots are growing underneath the surface. That's what's happening with your dream. The problem is too many people stop watering. They stop believing. They stop moving. They stop moving. They start questioning everything. And they quit 1 inch from the finish line. Do not be one of those people. You came too far. You sacrificed too much. You've invested too much time, too much energy. You've cried too many tears to throw it all away now. You can't see it, but it's right there. You're almost there. That's why it hurts. That's why it's heavy, because the finish line is near. The test always comes right before the testimony. You think it's just another day of struggle, but really, it's the final rep before the reward. It's the last mile before you cross over. It's the last challenge before the breakthrough. And you don't want to have endured this much pain and never taste the payoff. You don't want to look back a year from now and say, if I had just held on a little longer. You've got to trust the process. You've got to remember why you started. You got to dig deeper than your emotions and lock in on your purpose, because your feelings will lie to you. Your feelings will tell you to stop. Your feelings will tell you it's not working. But your grind, your discipline, your consistency, those are the things that keep moving you forward when your feelings want to shut everything down. You might feel tired. You might feel invisible. You might feel forgotten. But you are not forsaken. You are not finished. And you are not far. You are right there. You are standing at the edge of something great. But it's going to take that extra push, that extra round, that extra effort that nobody sees. That moment when you say, I don't feel like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's what gets you across the line. So take another step. I don't care how small it is. I don't care how slow it feels. Just take it. Because forward is forward. Progress is progress. And right now, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep pushing. You need to keep showing up. You need to keep waking up with fire in your belly and say, I'm not stopping until I get there. Because the truth is, if you can see how close you are, you will run through walls. If you can see how many people are waiting on your success, you never doubt again. If you can see how your breakthrough will inspire generations, you fight like never before. But sometimes you don't get to see it. Sometimes you've got to move in faith. Sometimes you've got to believe so deeply that even when it looks like nothing's happening, you trust that everything is. So keep going, keep believing, keep grinding, because you're closer than you think. You keep thinking your story doesn't matter. You keep talking yourself out of your greatness. Like what you carry inside you isn't valuable. Like your voice doesn't make an impact. Like your gifts are just average. But let me tell you something right now. The world needs what you have. Somebody out there is waiting for what's inside you. Somebody's future is attached to your courage, your creativity, your pain, your perspective. Somebody can't move forward until you decide to show up. You think you're just one person. You think you're too small to matter. But what you don't understand is that one spark starts a wildfire. One light breaks the darkness. One voice triggers a revolution. And you've been sitting on that voice. You've been second guessing that gift. You've been treating your calling like an option when it was never meant to be optional. It was a responsibility. You got experience. You got passion. You got perspective. You walked through storms and you made it out. You fought battles people don't even know about. You've survived things others couldn't handle. And now you got the wisdom, the fire, the insight, but you're quiet. Why? Because you're afraid? Because somebody told you you're not enough? Because society didn't validate you? Listen to me, validation doesn't come from applause. It doesn't come from followers. It comes from purpose. It comes from knowing you were built for something. You were assigned something. That's why you can't shake it. That's why no matter how many jobs you try, how many people you please, how many distractions you chase, you still feel that ache in your chest because you were called to more. And that more isn't for your comfort. It's for your contribution. The world is hurting. People are out here broken, lost, directionless. And you have something inside you that could be their answer. But if you stay silent, if you stay hidden, if you keep waiting for perfect conditions, then the people assigned to you may never get what they need. You got a message, a mission, a solution, and the clock is ticking. I'm not saying you got to be famous. I'm not saying you got to be rich. But I'm saying you got to be real. You got to be ready. You got to be ready. You got to be visible. Somebody needs to hear how you overcame. Somebody needs to learn from your pain. Somebody needs the blueprint that only you can provide. But they can't receive it if you don't deliver it. You keep asking, who am I to do this? That's the wrong question. The real question is, who am I not to do this? You've been through too much to keep it to yourself. You've cried too many nights for it to just be a memory. Those tears weren't wasted. They were watering a purpose. That heartbreak wasn't random. It was refining your message. That failure wasn't fine. It was forging your strength. Everything you've gone through prepared you to give something back. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Now, and yeah, maybe you're not the best yet. Maybe you don't have the biggest platform. Maybe you're not the most educated, the most experienced, the most polished. But you got something that can't be taught. Truth. You got authenticity. You got fire. And fire doesn't need permission to burn. Fire doesn't wait for approval. It just consumes. It just spreads. And if you let that fire inside you out, it's going to change everything. You think people want perfection? No, they want real. They want raw. They want people who've been where they are and made it through. And that's you. You've been broke. You've been scared. You've been rejected. You've been rejected. You've been counted out. And you kept going. That's powerful. That's valuable. That's the kind of story that breathes life into others. So don't you dare downplay that. Don't you dare hold back because you don't think you're ready. Let me be clear. You'll never feel 100% ready. And that's okay. Start where you are. Use what you have. Speak from the place you've been. Move with what you know. Because you're not here to impress. You're here to impact. You're here to ignite something in people. And that doesn't require perfection. It just requires permission. Your permission, your decision to step into what you've been running from. You have an assignment on your life. You didn't just wake up randomly. You didn't just go through all that pain for nothing. There's a reason you survived. There's a reason you survived. There's a reason you're still breathing. And that reason is connected to someone else's transformation. You may never meet them. You may never know their names, but your decision to live boldly will set them free. That's how powerful you are. So no more excuses, no more hiding, no more waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder and say, and now it's your time, it's been your time. The world is dark enough. The world is loud enough with noise. What it needs now is your truth, your gift, your heart. Excuses are lies. That's it. No sugarcoating. No soft words, they sound good. They feel good in the moment. But at the end of the day, they are nothing more than well-dressed lies trying to keep you comfortable. They're like chains disguised as blankets, holding you back while convincing you that you're just resting. You keep telling yourself, I'm too tired. I'm too tired. I don't have the resources. I'm not qualified. I'm not ready. You think those are facts, but they're not. They're fears, they're doubts. They're stories you've been feeding yourself to avoid doing what needs to be done. Every time you say I can't, what you're really saying is, I won't. You're giving yourself permission to stop, to shrink, to settle. And let me tell you something. If you settle long enough, it becomes your lifestyle. You start building a routine around your excuses. You start surrounding yourself with other people who make the same excuses, and suddenly mediocrity feels normal. Comfort becomes your cage, and the worst part is, you're the one locking the door. You are not built to live beneath your potential. You are not designed to blend in with the background. But you'll never rise while you're carrying around excuses like they're valid. They are not valid. They are lies in disguise. Excuses are the language of failure. The more fluent you become in them, the further you move from your greatness. You can either have results or you can have excuses, but you can't have both. You say you don't have time. No, you're just not making time. You say you're too tired. Then why are you up watching Netflix at midnight? You say you don't know how to start. Then why haven't you Googled it, studied it, asked someone? There are no excuses left. You live in the most connected generation in history. Information is in your pocket. Mentors are one DM away. Tools, resources, tutorials, blueprints, it's all available. But instead of accessing it, you keep telling yourself, one day is the biggest lie of all. One day doesn't exist. One day is just a fantasy you use to avoid today. And let me tell you, if you keep waiting for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect mindset, you'll be stuck in that same place 10 years from now. Same job, same struggle, same dream, still locked inside you. You want change? You want breakthrough? Then you gotta get honest. You've got to admit that the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is you, not your boss, not your parents, not your peers, not the system. You, your excuses, your lack of consistency, your failure to commit, that's the real enemy. And once you face that truth, everything changes. You got to stop treating your dream like a hobby. Stop acting like your purpose is a part-time gig. If it matters, then show up for it every single day, not when it's convenient. Not when it's easy, not when you feel like it. Every single day. Winners don't need motivation to move. They don't need permission to grind. They don't need a crowd cheering for them to stay focused. They do it because they made a decision. A decision to cut off all excuses and lock in on the mission. And yeah, it's gonna be hard. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. You're going to have days where you want to give up. But guess what? You're not made of glass. You won't break. You've been through harder things before. You survived storms that tried to destroy you. So why are you letting fear stop you now? Why are you letting inconvenience silence your gift? Your excuses are robbing you. They're stealing your time, your energy, your potential. Every time you delay, every time you hesitate, every time you say, I'll do it later, you're handing over a piece of your destiny. And one day, if you're not careful, you'll look back and realize that the only thing that ever truly held you back was the belief that you could. But I'm here to tell you, you can. You will, if you want it bad enough. If you're willing to let go of your excuses and pick up some discipline. If you're willing to trade your comfort for commitment. If you're willing to put your pride aside and do what needs to be done. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is seasonal. It's emotional. It comes and goes. But discipline shows up every day. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline says, get up anyway. Discipline says, work through the pain. Discipline says, I'm not gonna let how I feel today ruin what I'm building for tomorrow. So decide right now. Decide that you're done lying to yourself, that you're done listening to your doubts. Decide that you're done explaining your failure. Because when you cut off the excuses, that's when the grind becomes real. That's when your potential gets activated. That's when your life starts to shift. You don't need more time. You need more attention. You don't need more resources. You need more resourcefulness. That pain you've been trying to hide, that story you've been trying to bury, That dark season you thought disqualified you? Let me tell you something. That's the very thing that's going to elevate you. Your pain is not your punishment, it's your platform. You've been through too much, cried too many tears, struggled too hard for all of that to just sit in silence. There is purpose in your pain. There's power in your scar. But it will never serve anyone if you keep pretending it didn't happen. You see, people don't connect to perfection. They don't respond to polished masks and filtered images. What they connect to people who've been through hell, they connect to people who've been through hell and kept walking. People who've been knocked down, bruised, betrayed, but got back up and kept fighting. That's you. And somebody out there needs that version of you. The raw, real, unfiltered truth of who you are and what you survived. You think your story is too messy? Good. That's exactly what makes it powerful. You think your pain makes you relatable. It makes you human. It gives you depth. You didn't just read about struggle, you lived it. You didn't just hear about heartbreak, you felt it. You didn't just watch pain happen, you endured it. And now that you've come out on the other side, it's your duty to turn that experience into elevation. Not just for you, but for others too. You see, the platform isn't just the stage. It's not just the microphone or the camera or the podcast. The platform is your life. It's the story of how you didn't quit. It's the moments when you wanted to give up but chose to stand tall anyway. That's the platform. The very thing you thought disqualified you to lead, to speak, to build, to teach. It's not in spite of the pain, it's because of the pain. But here's the truth, pain without purpose is just suffering. Pain without transformation is just trauma replay. So you have a choice. Let that pain consume you, or let it fuel you. Let it break you, or let it build you. Stop letting it chain you to the past. Let it launch you into your future. Because your greatest weapon is not your strength, it's your story. And the world needs it. People are dying inside while looking at others who pretend to have it all together. But when you step up and say, I've been broken too, you give people permission to heal. When you say, I made it through, you give people hope to keep going. When you say, this is what I learned in my lowest moment, you become a light in their darkest night. That's the platform. That's the power. Some of the greatest leaders, speakers, creators, they didn't start on the mountaintop. They were in the valley, depressed, angry, abandoned, forgotten. But they didn't stay there, turn that valley into a message. They turned their pain into purpose. And that's what you got to do. Not because it's easy, not because it feels good, but because it's necessary. Some of you keep saying, I'm not ready. No, you're just scared. Scared that if people see the real you, they'll walk away. But let me ask you this. What if they don't? What if they hear your story and find strength in it? What if your vulnerability becomes the mirror that shows them they're not alone? What if your pain becomes the bridge that connects your heart to someone else's healing? You keep waiting for the pain to disappear before you show up. But hear me, you won't have to be completely healed to start helping. You just have to be willing to speak, willing to serve, willing to share, willing to stop pretending and start being authentic. That's what makes people move. That's what creates change. Not fake smiles and surface level advice, but deep truth, pretty truth, hard-earned wisdom. You got that. It's already in you. And now it's time to use it. Don't let the enemy convince you that your past disqualifies you. Don't let shame keep your mouth shut. The fact that you're still standing is a testament. That you're still here, still breathing, still pushing. That's evidence that your pain didn't win. And if it didn't win, then you did. So now you got to use that victory for something bigger than you. Somebody needs to hear that they can survive what you survived. Somebody needs to see what healing looks like, not perfection, not a fairy tale, but progress. You showing up every day, choosing growth over comfort, purpose over pain. That's the platform. That's the example. And whether it reaches one person or 1 million, it matters. Because impact isn't measured in numbers. It's measured in lives touched, souls awakened, hope restored. So stop hiding your story. Stop downplaying your pain. Stop running from the very thing that was designed to elevate you. Stand on it, speak from it, lead with it. You didn't go through all that for nothing. It's your testimony, your weapon, your launch pad. Your pain is your platform, and it's time to use it. Listen, setbacks are guaranteed. You can't live a life without them. They don't discriminate. They don't care who you are or what you want to do. They show up uninvited, unexpected, and they hit hard. You lose a job, a relationship falls apart. You fail a test, you get sick, you get rejected. Life will knock you down over and over and over again. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up isn't that they avoid setbacks. It's that they understand the comeback is always stronger than the setback. A setback is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter if you're willing to turn the page. If you let it define you, it's the end. But if you use it as fuel, it's your breakthrough. When life pushes you down, it's giving you the opportunity to push back harder. The world doesn't owe you a break. It owes you nothing. You've got to get up and take what belongs to you. Every setback carries a lesson, a message, a wake-up call. It's up to you if you want to hear it or drown it out with excuses and bitterness. When you get knocked down, people might say, stay down, accept defeat. But champions say, not today. Because a comeback is a mindset. It's not just physical. It's mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's a refusal to quit when quitting is the easiest option. It's waking up every day with a fire in your belly that won't let you be defeated. It's being broken but not shattered. It's being tested but not defeated. It's falling but refusing to stay down. The stronger your setback, the greater your comeback. If your failure was massive, your comeback has to be legendary. You can't come back half-heartedly. You can't tiptoe back into the game. You gotta roar back. You got to rebuild with a purpose so loud. The world can't ignore it. Your setback might have knocked you off course, but it cannot knock you out. You get back up because you have a dream bigger than your pain. Because your future is worth more than your past. Some people let their setback become their identity. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. I'll never recover. That's the lie that kills dreams. Don't let your setback write your story. You are not your failures. You are not your mistakes. You are not the sum of your losses. You are the strength you build in the aftermath. You are the hope that rises after the storm. You are the comeback. Every comeback story starts with a decision. The decision to stop feeling sorry for yourself. The decision to stop blaming others. The decision to stop making excuses and start making moves. It's about getting real with yourself. Recognizing that you have everything you need inside you to win. You don't need permission. You don't need love. You don't need someone else's approval. You just need to decide that your comeback is non-negotiable. And it's not just about getting back to where you were before. No, the comeback is about rising higher than ever before. It's about taking the lessons, the scars, and the pain and turning them into your fuel. It's about using the setbacks as stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. The comeback reshapes you. It makes you wiser, tougher, more focused. It gives you the vision to see beyond the immediate struggle and the courage to keep pushing forward when everything inside you said, stop. Remember, every champion has a comeback story. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school team, but came back to be the greatest basketball player ever. Oprah was told she was unfit for television.